Welcome to InvestorCOM's Wealth Compliance Leader Series. In today's conversation, we have the absolute pleasure of speaking with Nancy Mehrad, founder and CEO of Registrant Law, a Canadian securities law firm. Today, you'll get a chance to hear about Nancy and her 2 decades of experience in advising portfolio managers, investment dealers, and investment fund managers. Hello, everyone. I'm Parham Nasseri, and your host today. Nancy, we're super excited to have you to our show today. Welcome.
Thank you, Parham. I'm very excited to be here too.
Great. Nancy, if someone were to pick up your bio, you'd see that you've had a prolific career in the securities practice and the regulatory industry. If we were to step back, are there a series of events that led to your interest on the topic of financial market regulation?
It's funny you ask. You know what? I've been doing this for, like you said, almost 2 decades now, but I had absolutely no plans of doing it when I was in law school. I didn't even take securities law, but I got my first gig as a securities litigator, and it just kind of took off from there. I've worked at IROC, at industry, mutual fund manufacturers, and then as well as dealers. So I've had the pleasure of working in our industry for a while now, until most recently, where I decided to launch my own law firm, and now I have the pleasure of servicing our IFMs, dealers, advisors, EMDs, you name it. So it's been a ride, and it's been a great one.
Excellent. So I can go multiple different directions, and that is an illustrious career, starting out from IROC to working for fund manufacturers and now dealers. So I think you've had you can walk the talk in a way. If Nancy had this magic wand per se, right? You've worked on all different sort of sides of the industry, and now leading your current law firm. I'm curious, what are the top things that Nancy would do to transform our industry for the better?
Well, you know what? I think our industry has come a long way. If you were to look at the recent regulations and reforms that the regulators have issued in order to improve investor protections, it's been a lot, and it's been a great improvement. If you look at the CFRs, for example, you look at the trailing commissions, you look at CRM2, there's been a lot of work that the regulators and industry combined have done for the interests of our investors.
Nancy, you mentioned the client focus reforms, and they're by far one of the most significant enhancements holistically to the advisor-client relationship in decades. For folks who may not necessarily know about the client focus reforms as well, how do you think the CFRs themselves are going to transform our industry?
Well, that's a great question. I think CFRs, they will. One of the things that I think is great about the CFRs is that they're going to result in more meaningful interactions with clients. In fact, they explicitly refer to that. And I think, and all the different new details that are in the CFRs with respect to interactions with clients, with respect to KYC obligations, all that does really lead to better and more meaningful interaction with clients. And so I think that's going to be wonderful. I think if you look too at KYP, for example, it's going to allow or force almost advisors to learn their products better, learn more about their product shelf. Many have already been doing it, but there's more nuances now than there were before. And so I think that's definitely going to lead to better results at the end of the day, and definitely for the client, because at the end of the day, they're having more fulsome conversations with their advisors, they're meeting with them more frequently, and then their advisors are able to recommend more suitable products for them because they understand the products that they're recommending better. So I think I think there's a lot of great things that have happened because of the CFRs.
Absolutely. I think directionally, we're moving past this sort of disclosure only to let's now act in the client's best interest by way of these reforms, both in Canada and the US, which is super interesting. Now let me kind of geek out on the technology side of things. Obviously, there's a lot of important elements that are changing as a result of the client focus reforms. In your respective view, what role do you believe technology plays in helping firms fulfill their CFR obligations?
Yeah, I think, and I've been seeing a lot of my clients, do the same. I think especially the KYP elements and monitoring for significant change. If you're, especially when you're a larger shop, I think technology is something that, firms are looking to, because when you've got thousands of products on your shelf, getting the human power to monitor for significant change could be more costly than doing it with technology, quite frankly. Now, I don't know if that's the case for all registrants, if you have just a few products on your shelf, but I think absolutely for the larger firms, I don't see how it couldn't be helpful.
Yeah. What's interesting is in our walks of life, when we're speaking with clients and prospects, there's kind of two approaches. There are firms who kind of try to embrace technology as the solution. Then there's others who kind of say, all right, we're going to hire some compliance consultants to scan CDAR and all these different disparate sources. And at the end of the day, it's fundamentally about, all right, you can have a lever by way of technology or human capital. We know which one's more efficient at the end of the day. So I think the proof's going to be in the pudding on that front. Now, I'll be quick here, given that we're trying to keep our video blogs timely and transparent. Final question for me. You've had a very successful career in the regulation industry and now as CEO of a securities law firm. What would you recommend to firms who are looking at the CFR regulations critically and at their practices? What's the best way for them to meet these obligations with confidence, given the December deadline?
Yeah, I'm probably stating the obvious, but really prepare now. Like if you haven't already started to look at your policies, your procedures, I wouldn't assume that it's going to be I'll figure it out on the weekend kind of project, right? Like really you need to start looking at your policies, your procedures, your documents. There's a bunch of RDI disclosure changes that have to be made too. So I would just say plan early. And then to the extent that you need help, reach out to your, your law firm, your consultant, what have you. But that would be my first step my best guidance, I guess, is to plan early. And you know what, also read the FAQs. The FAQs are really helpful. Some people forget that there is this FAQ document issued by the CSA that's constantly updated, and I think it does have some helpful information in there.
Excellent advice, and your 2 decades of experience, starting from an SRO to various sort of advantages in the industry, sort of speaks volumes. Nancy, thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure, and have yourself a great day.
Thank you. You too, Parham.
Okay, if you enjoyed today's session, please like this video and subscribe to InvestorCOM's YouTube channel to hear more of the similar types of conversations.